Fire paramedic 33, what is the emergency?
Yes, sir. I need an ambulance as soon as possible, sir.
Okay, sir. What's your address?
It's 100 North Carrollwood Drive, Los Angeles, California, 90077.
You said Carrollwood?
Carrollwood Drive, yes.
Okay, sir. What's the phone number you're calling from? Okay, sir. And what's the problem? Exactly what happened?
Sir, we have a gentleman here that needs help, and he's not breathing yet.
June 25, 2009. Inside a rented mansion in Los Angeles, paramedics rushed through the doors after receiving a frantic 911 call. Michael Jackson, the most famous entertainer on earth, was lying unconscious in his bedroom. His personal doctor desperately attempted CPR, but something felt wrong almost immediately. The King of Pop was only 50 years old, just weeks away from returning to the stage for the biggest comeback tour of his entire career. And yet, behind the scenes, Michael Jackson's life had quietly been falling apart for years. The pressure, the addiction, the paranoia, the lawsuits, the isolation. What began decades earlier as the story of a child musical prodigy would eventually become one of the darkest and most tragic celebrity stories in modern history. Because Michael Jackson wasn't just a pop star. He was a global phenomenon. A man worshipped by millions, while simultaneously living under constant scrutiny from the media, the public, and investigators. But the strangest part? Even after his death, people still argue over one question. Was Michael Jackson simply destroyed by fame? Or was something much darker happening behind the scenes? Michael Joseph Jackson was born on August 29, 1958, in Gary, Indiana. He grew up in a tiny house with 9 siblings. Money was tight. Privacy barely existed. And discipline inside the Jackson household was intense. His father, Joe Jackson, believed strict control was necessary to turn his children into stars. Michael later described parts of his childhood as emotionally painful. But even at a young age, his talent was impossible to ignore. By age 5, he had already become the standout performer of the family group that would later become the Jackson 5. Audiences were stunned by him. The voice, the confidence, the dancing. He didn't perform like a child. He performed like someone born for the spotlight. In 1969, the Jackson 5 signed with Motown Records. And suddenly, everything changed. I Want You Back. ABC. I'll Be There. Hit after hit exploded across America. Michael became the face of the group almost overnight. But fame came at a cost. While other children went to school dances or played outside, Michael spent most of his childhood rehearsing, touring, recording, and living inside studios. He later admitted he often felt lonely. And underneath the success, people close to him noticed something else. Michael desperately wanted a normal childhood he never got to experience. As the years passed, he slowly began separating himself from the image created around him. He wanted more control, more freedom, more individuality. And nobody realized it yet. But Michael Jackson was about to become bigger than anyone thought possible. In 1978, Michael starred in the musical film The Wiz. The movie itself struggled critically. But behind the scenes, something extremely important happened. Michael met legendary producer Quincy Jones. That meeting changed music history forever. Together, they created Off the Wall in 1979. The album was a massive success. But Michael wanted more than success. He wanted perfection. Then, in 1982, he released Thriller. And the world changed almost instantly. The album became a cultural explosion. Billie Jean. Beat It. Thriller. Everywhere people looked, Michael Jackson dominated television, radio, magazines, and live performances. Then came 1983. Motown 25. Millions watched as Michael performed Billie Jean live on stage. And during the performance, he debuted the Moonwalk. The crowd erupted. Within hours, the performance became legendary. Michael Jackson was no longer just a singer. He had become a global obsession. But behind the scenes, the pressure became overwhelming. He slept less, worked endlessly, chased perfection constantly. And then, in 1984, disaster struck. While filming a Pepsi commercial, pyrotechnics exploded too early. Michael's hair caught fire. He suffered severe scalp burns. The footage shocked viewers worldwide. But according to many reports, this moment also introduced him to powerful prescription painkillers. And some believe that addiction would quietly follow him for the rest of his life. But the next phase of Michael Jackson's life would become even stranger. By the mid-1980s, Michael Jackson had become arguably the most famous person on Earth. But fame began changing his life in disturbing ways. Rumors followed him constantly. Stories about plastic surgery. Stories about his changing appearance. Stories about strange behavior. Then came Neverland Ranch. A massive private property designed almost like an amusement park. To some fans, it represented Michael trying to recreate the childhood he never had. To critics, it looked deeply unusual. Meanwhile, his appearance continued changing dramatically over the years. Speculation exploded. Michael eventually revealed he had vitiligo, a skin condition causing loss of skin pigmentation. But the media frenzy never stopped. In many ways, Michael became trapped inside his own celebrity. Then, in 1993, everything took a darker turn. A child molestation allegation against Michael Jackson became global news. The accusations shocked fans worldwide. Michael denied everything. But the investigation damaged his image permanently. The case was later settled out of court. And that decision created even more suspicion. People began asking impossible questions. Was Michael Jackson misunderstood? Or were there disturbing secrets hidden behind the image of the King of Pop? Then investigators and journalists noticed another troubling detail. Michael's life appeared to be spiraling emotionally, financially, and psychologically. And things were about to become even more chaotic. Throughout the 1990s, Michael Jackson continued producing massive music projects. Bad. Dangerous. History. His concerts sold out globally. But behind the scenes, his personal life became increasingly unstable. In 1994, he married Lisa Marie Presley, the daughter of Elvis Presley. The marriage shocked the public. Some believed it was genuine. Others believed it was an attempt to repair his image after the allegations. The marriage ended after less than 2 years. Soon after, Michael married Debbie Rowe, a nurse who later became the mother of 2 of his children, Prince and Paris. That marriage also ended quickly. Meanwhile, Michael's behavior became more unpredictable publicly. He often wore surgical masks, traveled surrounded by heavy security, avoided public appearances, and reports of prescription medication use continued surfacing. Financial problems also started growing. Despite earning hundreds of millions of dollars, Michael reportedly spent enormous amounts maintaining Neverland Ranch and funding his lifestyle. Then came 2001. Michael released Invincible. The album sold well by normal standards. But compared to his earlier dominance, many considered it disappointing. His relationship with Sony Music deteriorated publicly. Michael accused powerful executives of sabotaging his career. Then, in 2003, a documentary called Living with Michael Jackson aired worldwide. The documentary included footage of Michael discussing children sleeping in his bedroom at Neverland. Public backlash exploded instantly. And then everything collapsed. In 2005, Michael Jackson stood trial on multiple child molestation charges in California. The case became one of the biggest celebrity trials in modern history. Television networks covered it daily. Fans camped outside courtrooms. Critics declared his career finished. But after months of testimony, Michael Jackson was acquitted on all counts. Still, the damage never fully disappeared. Because even after the trial ended, the controversy surrounding him never truly stopped. After the trial, Michael Jackson became increasingly isolated. He spent time living outside the United States, rarely appeared publicly. And financially, reports suggested he was under enormous pressure. Then came 2009. Michael announced This Is It, a massive comeback concert series scheduled in London. Fans went into a frenzy. Tickets sold out rapidly. The world believed the King of Pop was finally returning. But behind rehearsals, troubling signs reportedly emerged. Some insiders later claimed Michael looked exhausted, frail, thin, unable to sleep properly. According to court testimony, Michael had become heavily dependent on medical assistance for sleep. And one name would soon become central to the entire tragedy: Dr. Conrad Murray, Michael's personal physician. On June 25, 2009, emergency responders arrived at Michael's Los Angeles mansion after reports of cardiac arrest. Attempts to revive him failed. The news spread globally within minutes. Michael Jackson was dead. The world stopped. Crowds gathered outside hospitals. Fans cried in streets across multiple countries. Television stations interrupted programming worldwide. But investigators soon discovered disturbing details inside the mansion. Michael had been given propofol, a powerful surgical anesthetic normally used in hospitals. And that revelation changed everything. Investigators concluded Michael Jackson died from acute propofol and benzodiazepine intoxication. The death was ruled a homicide. According to prosecutors, Dr. Conrad Murray administered the drugs while attempting to help Michael sleep. But propofol is not intended for regular home use, especially without proper medical monitoring equipment. The investigation revealed a disturbing picture behind Michael's final months. Severe insomnia, extreme rehearsal pressure, dependence on medications, constant anxiety about performing. Witnesses described Michael as physically weak but still obsessed with perfection. Even in rehearsals shortly before his death, he reportedly pushed himself intensely. Then came the trial of Dr. Conrad Murray. Prosecutors argued Murray failed to properly monitor Michael and delayed calling emergency services appropriately. The defense argued Michael may have administered additional medication himself. But in 2011, Conrad Murray was convicted of involuntary manslaughter. For many people, the case symbolized something bigger than one doctor's actions. It represented decades of pressure surrounding Michael Jackson's life. A child star who never escaped fame. A global icon constantly chased by media attention. A perfectionist consumed by performance. And a man who spent most of his life under a microscope. But even after the conviction, one major question still remained. Could Michael Jackson's story ever have ended differently? Michael Jackson's death triggered one of the largest public reactions ever seen for a celebrity. Millions watched his memorial service. Artists around the world paid tribute to him. Sales of his music exploded again almost instantly. Even years after his death, Michael Jackson remained one of the highest-earning celebrities in the world. His influence on music, dance, fashion, and pop culture remains enormous. Modern artists still study his performances. His choreography continues inspiring generations. And albums like Thriller remain historic milestones in entertainment history. But controversy still surrounds his legacy. Some people view him as one of the greatest entertainers who ever lived. Others believe the allegations and investigations permanently changed how his story should be remembered. Documentaries, lawsuits, debates, and online arguments continue even decades later. And perhaps that's what makes Michael Jackson's story so haunting. He achieved levels of fame almost nobody else in history has ever experienced. Yet despite the money, success, awards, and global admiration, Michael Jackson spent much of his life searching for peace he never truly seemed to find. The king of pop changed music forever. But in the end, his life became one of the most tragic stories fame has ever created. And even today, years after his death, Michael Jackson's story still feels unfinished. Some people remember the music. Some remember the controversies. Others remember the mystery surrounding the man behind the fame. But whether you see him as a genius, a victim of fame, or one of the most controversial celebrities in history, there's no denying one thing. Michael Jackson changed entertainment forever. From a small house in Gary, Indiana, to becoming the most famous performer on earth. His rise was unbelievable. And his downfall became one of the most tragic stories the music industry has ever seen. Because behind the records, the sold-out stadiums, and the legendary performances, was a man constantly battling pressure, loneliness, addiction, media scrutiny, and the impossible weight of global fame. And maybe that's the darkest part of all. The world loved Michael Jackson the superstar, but very few people truly understood Michael Jackson the person. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more deep celebrity stories, true crime documentaries, and shocking real-life cases. And let me know in the comments, what do you think really destroyed Michael Jackson's life? Fame, the media, or the people around him? If you made it this far, you officially know the dark rise and tragic fall of the king of pop. Subscribe for more deep celebrity documentaries, shocking true stories, and untold Hollywood secrets. Like the video if you want more Michael Jackson content. And comment below. What's the saddest moment in Michael Jackson's life, in your opinion?